For me, it wasn't about a mistake, but the lies. Once a commentary person lies, I can't trust anything they say ever again, so it ruins the content. Maybe doing something where the audience doesn't have to believe you?
Unsubscribe and never watch my channel again.
Sad face emoji.
I think John's worst regret about the leaks is that he didn't get paid for any of it. So even though it's ridiculously easy and fun to make fun of John Swan, I would urge you strongly not to send him or anybody else mentioned in this entire video any hate, harassment, bullying, or any condescending, mean, rude comments. Please leave it in my comment section. I love the engagement. Thank you. So in this video, I'm gonna go over all of the leaked information on John Swan. Most of it is entirely his own fault. You can choose to believe any counter evidence that he has brought to the table. It's scarce and it's highly unlikely to be true, but you know, make your own decisions. I believe in you. If you are not entirely caught up about the who, what, and where of John Swan in terms of who he is and why we care about the situation, then I would highly recommend you check out my first video that I did after he formally lied to Dream. It was just as great and funny and smart. And then we can carry on with this video and covering the entire leaking history of John Swan. Cause the TLDR of that situation is that since March 2021, we have had it confirmed by leaks that John Swan cannot be trusted and that he lied. And it is not the lie itself that has carried this much weight. It is usually how John ends up responding. So he's a terrible liar, even though he will solidly commit to it. So he will tell a lie to cover up the lie to cover up the lie, and he will almost always get his ass recorded, and that will almost always leak. Except it has exponentially increased over this last month. So if you were under the impression that this is the first leak, then no, I will refer you back to the first time John Swan was called out and recorded and the recording had leaked was when he was confronted about lying to Dream and all his friends in a call dropped by Nicholas Dorio. Yes, John got recorded and leaked twice. In the first call was actually when Nicholas Dorio confronted him and got him to, in his own way, admit that he had been lying all along.
Dude, I'm not gonna go make a fucking video on you. Okay, I'm just asking because I want to know. Because like I feel like I already know the answer, so it's like really like there's no reason to lie to me.
If you know the answer, then you know the answer.
So you did it.
That's what I'm gonna say.
John, come on. I'm not.
No, I'm not. I don't know. Who knows? If you know the answer, you know the answer. That's all.
Are you like the slightest bit worried?
No, not really.
Like, do you think I'm being irrational right now?
No, I don't think you are. I don't think you are. I think you're justifiably concerned.
John. You're like, I'm really trying to tiptoe here.
So after this call was recorded, which was high-key embarrassing for all parties involved because it kind of seemed from the outside like this big channel Dream is going after the small guy John because he's afraid that he might get criticized, and it turned out that John lied the entire time and everybody just believed him, or they wanted to believe him. And so Nick dropped a multi-part thread on the situation explaining in detail how we'd all been conned and how he had actually had this call with John in which John confessed. So obviously that would make John want to, you know, maybe come clean, maybe admit it, maybe start begging for forgiveness. But instead we got the legendary second call in which John, in no uncertain terms, asks Nick to just get rid of it all.
Right, but I'm just sitting here thinking it's just like, you haven't been fucking upfront with me in any capacity. Why would, like, holy shit, dude. And it's just, if you're gonna be fucking lying to me, then what the fuck are you... I don't know, I thought we were, like, cooler than that. I thought you wouldn't, like, fucking, like, completely screw me over. So, I don't know what you really expect from me here. I have, like, a moral truth capacity thing.
What? No. No, dude.
What is the way, dude? How do I do it better?
This is not the way. Fucking delete that immediately.
What did I do wrong? What's wrong about it? What do you want me to, like, what would I change?
This is not the time. This is seriously not the time.
So clearly, when it comes to leaked information on johnswan, Nicholas the Oreo walked so that we could all run. For some reason after this, there were still people who chose to trust johnswan, and you know what, we make our choices, we live and we learn. However, these tend to be younger people, and I will only refer to the whole bunch of them as the 15-year-old people in johnswan's Discord.
Hey commentary community, I'm outside right now touching some grass.
So a year later, March 2022, drops a fucking bombshell of a video when
Jaco, you're a little fucking scumbag Rita, and I hope, Jaco, I hope all this shit catches up to you one day, because it is going to. I promise you it will. And Jaco, if you want to learn about blackballing is, I will make sure you know, okay?
there was undeniable leaked information in which johnswan declared that he was going to entirely blackball Auvray from the entire community. Obviously, this sparks a lot of questions and nobody knew what the fuck was up. I mean, it looks like it was gonna be a pretty dope exposed video. Nonetheless, it turns out that all of this is about another figure in this community called HarleyTBS. HarleyTBS was unfortunately kicked out of this Discord server. However, they didn't actually tell him that he was kicked out. Instead, they made a whole second server and they just didn't tell him about the second server, so he stayed in the first server while the rest of them moved to the second server.
Don't forget the private Discord to appease me, Keem. They made a whole nother one just to appease me, so I wouldn't get upset, and they lied to me.
They made a fake private server.
They made a fake
wait,
private server.
Wait,
Aiden,
wait, Aiden, can you confirm this? Can you confirm this is true?
I can pull up the server right now.
Oh.
Yeah, they hit a plus button, made a server, invited him to it, and then we were just expecting him to sit there.
So instead of just telling you to fuck off, right? They made a private server.
No one told me. In fact, the main people who did it just ghosted me and lied to me and said it was just gone.
Shocking.
That's it.
Well, that's what you get for hanging out with Johnswan. I mean, Jesus Christ.
Yes,
I mean,
right.
like, you never heard he lies all the time? I mean, really.
HarleyTBS said that they were probably afraid that he might leak some information. Wonder why they would think that's a possibility in the Discord. And Jaco was involved because he was going to tell HarleyTBS the truth of the matter and leak the information once again.
You may think a lot of the things hold more weight than they really do.
However, he did on the show say that, well, there are some fun things that happened in the Discord about them talking shit and what kind of shit that they did. And the most notorious meme from this era was that they do check Jeff's Instagram pages because he works out and they do not. I can't see the rest of the point, but apparently they make fun of him and that's just what they do in the Discord. It seems like a ball of a time, doesn't it? So at this point, we've had 3 notorious leaks. We first got him exposed by Nicholas the Oreo as the person who lied in the dream situation. Then we had Jaco leak the private threats that johnswan had made towards him, where he basically threatens his career as a commentator or an editor or troll, or literally his position as one of the 15-year-old Discord members. And then finally HarleyTBS leaked that johnswan likes to look at Jeff's Instagram pictures. Honestly, none of this could prepare any of us for the shitstorm leakage that is about to occur in the entirety of April 2022. This started off when Haha Yeah, one of the 15-year-old Discord members, dropped a document from a girl called Lizard, and it was on another member of the Discord called Cammy. And this document is supposed to explain how 18-year-old Cammy was being either perverted or a pedophile or something disgusting groomer-like towards 15-year-old Lizard. It's a choice.
I'm sorry, I'm laughing because it's all funny to me, but you're kind of like trying to destroy somebody's life over some like pretty.
How you doing, my dude?
My name was like brought up here like a few times. What's going on?
Were you involved in the creation of a document against Cammy?
That's a
I
yes.
I was not directly involved. In that
Oh,
at
God.
all.
What does not directly involved mean?
No, I mean I saw it.
So Destiny, being an adult with life experience, called the BS immediately, saying, well, This entire document consists of text. There were no nudes, there was nothing actually blatantly perverted, there was no blatant grooming, and the girl herself never actually states that she's uncomfortable. In fact, she actually gives consent to everything happening here. And the things happening here are not sexual, right? They are just cringy, flirty, embarrassing shit that most of us went through as teenagers. So Destiny quickly thinks that this is it's a joke. There's no way that this actually is the reason to cancel somebody with 1K subscribers on YouTube.com. Surely not. As you can hear here, in no uncertain terms, when asked, Swan said that he had no involvement in the document.
I was not directly involved in that.
Oh, God.
Immediately after this call, though, Lizard, the girl in question, the 15-year-old, said that that actually is a blatant lie. She ended up eventually leaking DMs in which she shows herself that Swan fully admitted to having a part in the document, in which he actually gives her two options. He basically says, well, you know, don't go to the police, don't solve your problems because they're not that serious, but they are serious enough to end somebody's reputation and career on YouTube. So, therefore, there's no alternative than writing a document. And you have to have somebody leak it because he, that is Swan, cannot, you know, be associated with crimes of this degree. So, therefore, useful idiot, haha yeah, was the one who leaked the fucking document. So at this point in time, a normal individual might think, shit, I've been caught red-handed, might as well come clean, might as well tell them the whole goddamn truth. And this is not what Swan's reality looks like. This is not his truth. This is not how he's gonna go down, fucking leaking his documents and shit.
Had actually edited massive parts of the Google Doc involving changing the statement the victim had made, in which they were quite favourable to Cammy, explained that he'd checked if it was okay several times and that they necessarily weren't against this, changing that entire statement to represent it completely differently than the victim wanted to, in a statement labelled as the victim's testimony on this situation.
Here's just a quick extract of the difference between what Liz said and then what John said.
After this, it continued. He made jokes and started liking it after I asked him if he did. He continued on and tried asking me if it was okay multiple times. He's aware of my age, by the way, so he kept asking if it was weird or not. I tell him I didn't think it was weird. I really didn't think much of it. As it continued on, he said he was very hard. You could say he basically told me he was pleasured by what I was saying to him.
Cam used me for his own sexual pleasure when I was in a vulnerable state. He knew what he was doing was wrong, comparing his actions to those of people who have been cancelled from the community. He said I made him happy. He called me cute, said I was his darling, and he made me feel appreciated and loved, but all he ever wanted was sexual pleasure. And he used me to get what he wanted. I'm ashamed I ever took part in any of it.
It was at this moment in time that the 15-year-old Discord members realized that something was afoot. Something was not very right with this man. And yes, they banded together, a bunch of them, like a lot of them, and actually decided to go swan hunting. And what they found might not astonish a single person. That's right, we have yet another leak. So immediately Aiden DM'd Swan to say, hey brah, you're looking kind of fucking stupid, right? So we know you were involved, we could see you're involved, we have the actual edits, we're not that stupid, like please stop lying. And once again, when met with the opportunity to lie better or maybe hopefully tell the truth, Swan doubles down and introduces us to this weird type of amnesia that he gets when he's under stress. Yes, that's right. He does not remember being involved in the smear document against Cammy.
I'm sorry that my memory of that night was fuzzy. When I get put into stressful situations, my memory of those events just erode. Sure, buddy. It's the way my brain copes with intensely stressful shit like this. If I can't remember it, it doesn't affect me. I did not remember writing paragraph.
So he edited these large chunks, but he doesn't remember because it was very, very stressful, because he never ever intended to harm his career on YouTube or their reputation or any such things. He only truly cared about the victim in question. And he would never deny a victim the right to speak their truth. He'll only facilitate, but due to all that stress, he simply forgot. He forgot. So of course, the amnesia story did not fly. However, John Swan has a backup, and this brings us to the next public leak, which was a call that John Swan had with Cammy. Now you might think, okay, this is an opportunity to apologize, to rectify the situation in a way that is not only PR, but in a way to make the 18-year-old understand that you yourself do not intend to cause him and his career harm, that you deeply regret getting involved in a situation that had nothing to do with you, and if you truly did care, you could have told them to go to the police, right? Nope, none of that. Instead, what he will do now is inform Cammy how he should apologize and how he should be better in the future, so that stuff like this does not happen to him again.
Well, yeah, like, there was nothing else I really could have done, because, like, yeah, I admitted to it, and I just, like, apologized to Liz, because I don't believe I manipulated her. I don't believe that was any sort of manipulation there, because, I did help her out with, like, some of her troubles, even though she thinks that I did that maliciously, which isn't true.
Now see, this opening statement does not fly with John Swan's 10-year plan. That's why he gives an audible so that Cammy could, pick up on the context clues, which is, please change the narrative, please change the way that you're saying this, because none of this makes me look as good as I would like it to be. So instead, I'm gonna tell you where you went wrong.
I don't know, Liz.
You see, the messages are kind of, like, open-ended in the way that you can have, like, two different perspectives. One perspective could be that you didn't take advantage of it at all, right? And then the messages just look like it's reciprocal, flirting, sexting, etc., right? The other one could be that you did take advantage of her, and then some of the messages start to look different.
So after this lecture, John Swan asks Cammy, well, what can I do so that you will tell all your followers that I'm good and that I was also manipulated by this 15-year-old witch? What is it that I need to be saying? And then Cammy suggests, well, apologizing might be nice, but you and I both know that you don't care about that, do you?
I mean, realistically, you kind of just gotta, like, power through it, I suppose. Like, really much else you can really do. I mean,
not really.
Maybe, I don't know, maybe like apologizing to me publicly could be something you could do, but I don't really know how much that would like flip public. I don't really imagine that you care that much.
No, I do care. It's why it's why I called you. Obviously, I do care. Like, I care very much because I basically started off this thing and I was lied to, essentially.
Whoop! Look who's aware of a recording device.
Okay, so I talked to johnswan White. He and I have talked things out and he's apologized. I can confirm that he's not the puppet master that you all think he is. I appreciate it if you all leave him be.
It all fell down and it got fucked, so whatever. But I appreciate that, mate. Yeah, hopefully you stop hanging around with the fucking 15-year-olds, and
I will, don't worry, I will.
Okay.
So, as you can hear, they actually reached an agreement where Cammy would publicly post that he has forgiven John, and then John will retweet it and add something quirky like, yeah, motherfuckers, told y'all so. This lasted for maybe a couple of hours, and then Cammy deleted his initial tweet and said, "Oh no, I'm sorry, I forgot this is John Swan, guys. Like, he's a lying liar that lies. Obviously none of this is true and it's all pointless." And John did not see this coming, so the quote tweet was deeply, deeply embarrassing. Once again, John Swan was a victim of the leak. The next leak that dropped was from fucking Tipster, and it was great. Some people have said that this is critically acclaimed, his best work yet. Personal favorite line, of course, is,
"Don't worry, I'm not gonna like fucking release this call, or I'm not gonna do some fucking video. I don't do commentary shit anymore. I don't give a fuck about this shit anymore, quite frankly."
Okay, so obviously John had to save what he could possibly save at this moment in time because everything was going south, and again, deeply embarrassing. You would assume by now he would have logged off. Nope, he's still at it. So Tipster leaked this call in which John Swan basically tried to convert Tipster into the Discord of 15-year-old people by lying to him and telling him that he had no involvement, even though at this point all evidence points to the contrary. So Tipster just straight up leaked a call in which he tells John Swan that he does not believe him,
rather than taking some time to like think it through.
That's
this was a colossal
fair.
fuck up. This is a colossal fuck up.
I'm going to be honest about the involvement that I had in this was so extremely minimal. And the reason that it was so minimal is because I didn't want to fuck up something like this again. That's the reason I didn't want any involvement. I gave this to other people so they could do with it what they wanted. I didn't want involvement. That was the entire thing. That's why I didn't write the document. I agreed that I'd like edit little parts of it if they wanted me to edit little parts of it. That was all that I ever did in regards to that. I didn't have anything in relation to like...
You told Destiny you weren't involved in the
I wasn't involved with the writing of the document.
But you're telling me that you did some editing and stuff, so you were involved.
And John Swan is at this moment in time coping, seething, and molding. So John Swan looked at this whole situation and recognized that it was truly unfair. The rest of the kids could meme and leak, and he was just not cool enough to sit at the table. So how does he rectify the situation? Well, he one-ups us, of course, by leaking a very highly anticipated call between him and Pie Man or Pie Girl. And this was a very infamous call because way back in the day, one of the first reasons that John Swan got cancelled, one of the things that even preceded the Dream Lie, was the fact that John Swan had tried to call a child, a 15-year-old child at the time, a pedophile for being into a 12-year-old, and that obviously took a turn south, and it's very similar to this Camo story if you think about it. However, that aside, John Swan had always maintained that he had apologized privately to Pyman about the whole situation, and therefore should be forgiven, even though the community kind of side-eyed this because nobody was truly sure, and it kind of didn't seem like it was because Pyman did hint that there was no true apology. However, eventually our prayers were met, and John Swan dropped this call between Pyman and him in which he does apologize. Now, I went over this entire call, and the only way in which I could find any word akin to what we wanted here, an apology or an I'm sorry, is twice when the word apologize was mentioned, and it was specifically that John Swan had apologized for the way in which he had worded the allegations, and then secondly, he apologized for acting erratically / on his emotions.
And say that your online life is going to be ruined by it. That's not what I meant by that. I was just saying, like, people are always going to bring this up and people are always going to remember it. But the way I worded that was really, really shit. So I apologize for that wording. I apologize for being super emotional in that call. I shouldn't have been so erratic. It definitely was not aiding the situation in any way. And I apologize for that as well.
So in other words, he does not apologize to Pyman for accusing him of suicide baiting or even leading up to that point or calling him a pedophile. He instead wishes that he took a bit more time and just worded it differently, but the accusations kind of stand. So there's no apology in that. And then I looked up and found that there was indeed the word sorry mentioned.
This is probably the hardest thing for me to say today.
Sorry, I'm really sorry, but I have to go now.
Oh, okay.
And by that I mean Pieman said sorry because they had to go, be a kid in their house. Yes, Pieman said sorry in this call. Not John. Not even once. So I don't think this was the W that he thinks it was, but it definitely adds to the pile of leaked calls. So Johnswan had to let us know in no uncertain terms that he indeed does not take any of it back.
I stand by my statements I've made because I know that I've told the truth. Dishonest people who have vendettas against me have twisted the narrative on purpose. If you believe them without a second thought, then that's on you. I've seen so many tweets of people saying the most outrageous shit that clearly isn't true, and people believing it out of blind hatred. These individuals are all insane and lack basic critical thinking skills. No matter how perfect my response is, no matter how much evidence I show, and no matter how many times I try and explain myself, I will never be able to make everyone happy. So I'm just gonna stop trying. If you believe people who are clearly making up shit to get back at me, then again, that is on you and I don't want you following me anyway. More videos soon.
Here, I edited for him.
More videos soon.
And now, the leak to end all careers. I'm not referring to John Swan's leaked nudes, of course. He's not classy enough for that. Instead, Lieutenant Cobra, one of the final remaining Swan friends, recorded himself screen sharing pornographic images and video footage with John and the rest of the Discord minors. Here's John's embarrassing reaction to it.
Oh, nice. You're on fucking Pornhub. Let's not go to it.
How the fuck? No, but how did he get here? He's gotta be huge. He's gotta be huge.
He's got. No, yeah, he is. Has to, right?
Oh god, yeah.
Oh!
Excuse me, with a blowjob load so I can leave. Whoa.
It looks big. It looks massive.
Why are you doing this?
Now, I could say that worse leaks have happened to better people, but that's just not true at all. Speak your truth, King. So anybody at this point in time who wants to call John Swan a gay retard is almost completely verifiably justified in that opinion. I think we have a lot of evidence to make up our opinions and minds on it, but the evidence and the leaks are not in his favor for a counter argument at this moment in time. So let's quickly recap all the leaks that we've had since the start of the John Swan decline, the fall of the empire, is the Nicholas the Oreo 2 call leaks, the Jay Contrary call leak, the High Tree Instagram call, Aiden dropping the DMs in which John Swan has some amnesia problem. We have the document leak, of course, from Haha Yeah. And then we have Lieutenant Cobra leaking as well, the edits that we just saw. And then we have Lizard saying that John Swan was involved and leaking the DMs there. And then we had that Cammy call leak, we had Tipster leak, we had the Pieman voice call leak. And then, of course, finally, to round it all off, we have the porno leak. Yes, these are the leaks and the times of the John Swan career, and the only people remaining at this moment in time are these fucking furries. I'm assuming they're furries because how the fuck else would you justify what I'm looking at right now? Whew, well, if there's one thing that I've learned in this entire saga, very clearly always be leak ready. But that's what I've learned, and I'm just a thought with an opinion and I don't know shit about fuck. Bila. if you are still here, that must mean that you truly enjoyed this video, and I just want to take this moment to say that I could not have done this without the help of the talented and lovely voice actors that I used in this video. So please check the description box, give them a like, give them a follow, give them a sub. In order to topple the Swan Empire, it truly takes a village, people.